Welcome to the Ave Podcast, where we're coming up on the one of the favorite seasons of basketball, which is the off season, which is where coaches are all up in the AAU programs. Scouts are scouting. The draft is about to pop off tomorrow as we're recording this. Summer league is about to enter. Free agency is about to happen. All of it's coming through, and it's an exciting time because literally right after the finals, it's almost like the finals didn't happen. That's how fast it kicks into this third gear. But I want to introduce my guest properly. My first guest is a first timer, former D1 player. He played for the legendary John Chaney at Temple. He also played for the Maine Black Bears professionally overseas. For the last 10 plus years, he's been the founder of the Difference Makers basketball program out in Philly. And being that he is Jamaican and Philly, he can appreciate Beatty Man and the roots like a wine connoisseur. Please welcome Julian Dunkley. How you doing today, my brother?
I appreciate it, man. Just happy to be here, man, with my bros.
No doubt. Michael Ealy, Michael Williams, Christopher Williams, all of them have one thing in common. They're not the CEO of Team Lightskin. And on top of that, he's the founder of the AAU basketball team, Red Rush basketball program. He's also a Maine Black Bear and a Packer from Greenfield Park. Please welcome Mr. Randall Walter. How you doing today?
We back at it, South Shore resident. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell y'all this. This is a special part for me. I've done dozens and dozens and dozens of these things, helping the co-host and be a guest with C. But I got my boy, my man. And I'm going to tell y'all, this gentleman that we have right now taught me what a real Division I player is. Right? You know, when I first got to Maine, I didn't know what good looked like. And I'm not saying that the athletes there weren't good, but there's pedigrees, there's levels to this. I tell my boys there's levels to everything. And when that man stepped on campus, there was levels to his game. But most importantly, there was levels to his swag. Yo, the first time I seen a man come on campus with a Coogee sweater. A Coogee sweater, dog, in name, with Chucks. Crazy, you know, them Gap jeans that taper. It was filled out. Coming up to me talking, what up? Yo,
You don't even remember how we met.
And yo, he put me on. You know what?
You walked past me, you had some powder blue wallabies on. And I said, yo, where you get them from? And then we started chopping it up. And then I did have the Coogee on, but the wallabies brought us together.
Right. Swag, recognize swag, right? But I'll say it is, man, we got together from our Caribbean roots. And yo, this is going back to the 90s. And to this day, he's still my brother. And look in the background, man. Like, he's a legend.
Accomplished, man. I know, I see that.
And a humble legend, because you know, until when he was younger, he was one of those guys going to the league, and he almost made it, right? But you know what? Again, I got to learn what good looks like, and through him, I was able to see a lens of basketball that I have a lot of friends that were successful, but through him, I saw a lens that was that broadened my scope of basketball, right? Because the training aspect. This man flew me out to Austria.
That's what's up.
The food is good. The spaghetti was good, but I'll tell you this, he helped parlay my whole coaching career, and I wouldn't have been through this whole coaching career if it wasn't for him. So homage to my man. You gave a good introduction when you get into it. But this is a special one, man. Special one.
Yeah.
See, let me say something though. Like, Randall was on the football team and I was on the basketball team. But once we connected, man, and locked in, we was everywhere together. We kind of bridged the gap between football and basketball. There wasn't no beef on campus like that. Everybody was cool with each other. But he always had a basketball swag, even though he was on the football field. He always carried himself like a hooper. He never carried himself like a football player. He had a hooper swag for sure.
Hey, we land over a little bit to the Hooper swag side, Randall. Our family, man.
Yeah, you got that,
You know,
brother.
Montreal going back, man. And this guy again, the same thing. You know, we've known each other for so long. I actually thought we was cousins. I really thought we was cousins, but we wasn't. But yeah, you seeing the whole progress for, at least on my side of the family, for my brother getting the scholarship and all the way down, man, all the way down to now his son is, you know, trying to get on the NBA roster and God willing will be, you know, in the fall, you know. So this is all good vibes right here, man. This is all good vibes. Before we get into this the draft and where Giannis is going and all that, I mean, again, you know, we're getting a little bit further from the finals now, but I still want to get your thoughts on just the Knicks being champions, and they're running the gauntlet right now of all these shows and podcasts, and you know they're toasting it up right now, and deservedly so. But I'll start with you, Julian. Like, what were your thoughts on the Knicks, man? This whole journey.
Man, I thought it was like divine intervention, man. Seeing everything come full circle and seeing the Knicks, you know, accomplish the ultimate goal, which is to win the NBA championship, and just to see how they did it. The word that like summed them up was like resilience to me. Like, yeah, down 29, being down double figures every game, and just fighting back and doing it through Jalen Brunson's perseverance was what made it so impressive to me. Like, there's only one other man I know that played basketball that I could look in their eyes and see a certain type of determination, and that other man was Kobe Bryant. And that's what I saw in Jalen's eyes, with the refuse to lose mentality. And that was the culmination of what summed up the Mamba mentality to me. Like, he never wavered. If you looked at his body language, you wouldn't know if they were down 29 or up 29, because he kept the same composure all the way through. And that's what makes him truly special. It's not his height, it's not his athletic ability, it's not his stature or anything like that. It's all about his heart, his determination, and just how he held it down, to show to all the young and up and coming hoopers that, like, if you really study the game, footwork wise, positioning, mentality, approach, anything's possible. And he's a testament to that. So I enjoyed watching the Knicks bring it home on the strength of how they brought it home. And I think they deserve all the spoils, you know, since 1973 to bring it full circle to today. They definitely deserve it. It was great to watch.
And it's fitting too that he's a representative of Kobe sneakers, right? He's actually bringing that legacy forward. So makes total sense. What about you, Rand?
I mean, I think I told y'all this before, but the Knicks deserves a ton of credit. I mean, they actually sweeped. You know, in soccer they call it the Triple Crown or whatever. Like, let's say win the Premier League and you win the Euro League. These guys won it all this year. You see these kids when they take the belt and they slap in the ground. They can take the belt and slap the ground all they want. They built to ass. I mean, they won the in-season tournament, right? Yep. I mean, they finished with a decent record. They won the NBA Cup. I mean, one of the most dominant playoff runs that we saw in recent history. I think I told you before, 16 and what was it, 3?
16 and 3.
And I was reading online. It was their posting was the best net rating by a title-winning team in league history. I mean, it's a hot streak, right? And we talked about the last time we had a quick conversation with Mike Brown. I don't have to say I give all the glory and credit to him. Thibodeau was, helped build the foundation of things, and Dolan kind of gave him the opportunity to turn the culture around. Because remember, Dolan's fingers was fucking up the Knicks all left, right, and center, right? Yeah. And everybody kind of, some people love Tibbs, some hate him, but I was always a Tibbs fan, and it's kind of like a la Golden State when Kerr took over. He just took that team to another championship level, and the journeyman Mike Brown just turned that whole he just let everyone play, right? Not having these guys burnt out, use the bench, especially through the season, built the bench up in crucial times that they needed them, right? Because your starters aren't always going to come in and kind of do the work. I mean, there was times that Robinson came in and really did better than Towns, just in matchup situations. And other times he would run the shit out of him, and he'd be burnt out by the second half, right?
Sure.
So I mean, the way that whole team was constructed, and the way they played, and the way they were resilient, like Julian said, and they were able to come back. I mean, they were in deficit in like all the game, double-digit deficit every single game, and it always felt like, man, this ain't gonna last. Even you can even feel the energy with the Spurs, right? You get that amped up to get a lead in the first quarter, is because you know you need that lead to win, or at least try to win. So, and then what we can say about Brunson. I mean, a kid, I call him kid, but a guy that was taken 33rd overall. Everybody kind of wrote him off, small point guard, not athletic. He exemplifies, what every average size basketball player should aspire to be, right? He's not the most athletic, he's not the most quickest, but he's the most resilient. He put in the work. Like you said, Julian, the footwork was impeccable. He's going to be a generational player for a lot of players to learn how to play off 2 feet.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm seeing it now in training, and a lot of kids, and you're doing it. I'm sure, Julian, I've seen some of your clips. We're doing it out here in Canada, trying to develop those guards with all those intangibles. But it's like that whole Villanova type of prospect. And you're going to see later on, we're going to see more Brunsons coming up, right? Because kids are just going to try to emulate his game.
Which is probably good for the game, too. Because, I mean, the fundamentals is everything, man. That's all that was, too. Just fundamentals, just mastering the shit out of it.
Yeah,
it's definitely shifting back to fundamentals. And just to piggyback off something you said, man, I definitely got to give Mike Brown a lot of credit, but I also got to give that South Jersey connection of Wes, Leon Rose, and, Rick, who lived in Cherry Hill. Jalen Brunson grew up in Cherry Hill. His family lived in Cherry Hill. They still have a crib in Jersey to this day in South Jersey. But I got to give credit to Rick. That's my OG, because the way to coach your son at that high level and be open to criticism and scrutiny, but still let it bounce off you and be successful, that's top tier right there. Like that's tough. And Rick gives a sense of toughness to that staff that, every NBA staff and every NBA team needs to be successful. And then, Wes and Leon, Wes being the orchestrator and Leon being an orchestrator as well, to put people like Mike Brown in those positions to succeed, to give Mike Brown another chance, to have him go ahead and play in the championship game against theoretically one of the reasons why he got fired, which was De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Along with De'Aaron Fox, that friction there, and to be able to get that championship against somebody that put you in that position, he might not say it, or maybe he would, but I can look at it as bittersweet. But I definitely want to give a shout out to that whole staff and that organization of putting people in the right position to make the tough decisions, because I was a Tibbs guy. I thought Tibbs was solid, but Mike Brown, defensive coach, went in there with the right attitude, but still let him play on offense and gave the reins and gave the rope to the right people to get things done. So shout out to them, shout out to Rick, and shout out to Wes and Leon.
Yeah, and activating Towns was huge. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm happy because, like I said earlier in the series, that a black coach was going to win either way. You know what I mean? Like, you were going to get something out of that either way, which has been great. The Popovich tree is alive and strong too, because they both came from the Popovich tree, which is kind of crazy. And then I saw this today that, to your point, Randall, that Jalen Brunson won seven trophies this year, right? So the NBA Cup, the NBA Cup MVP, Eastern Conference Finals, the MVP to match finals, that to match, and the Shooting Stars. I mean, I didn't watch All-Star Weekend, but he got the Shooting Stars too. Like, he literally got everything.
Cleaned up.
He got everything. But honestly, like I said, King of New York right now. I mean, I don't even say right now. I think pretty much for life now at this point, he's gonna be one of the kings of New York forever, just for doing what he did. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful thing to watch the city just embrace the team. The legends are kind of getting renewed into like the next generation, and it's like a reciprocal, like it's a reciprocal sense of love, man. It's amazing to watch, man. Like I can't, like, it's only now I kind of slowed down watching some of these Knicks clips, but I've been watching them like almost religiously for the last few days. And it's just from the parade and everything else, Mobb Deep and all them guys are performing and stuff at the parade. Like, yo, it was dope, man. Like all of it is what you want to see. Can they do it next year? We'll see what happens. But I mean, unless, I know Giannis is kind of shaking things up right now. So it depends on where he goes, but I mean, I think they have one of the best shots as long as Dolan doesn't James Dolan, which it seems like he's kind of doing that right now.
I mean, it's going to be tough because somebody's going to have to sacrifice like Jalen Brunson did. Jalen Brunson left $100 million on the table to help the team out. So, Cat's going to be in a position to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to sacrifice for the team, or some guys going to take some cuts to keep that core group together? That's what it's going to, that's what's going to come down to. But if they can keep that core together, they got a chance to dance.
Yeah, and Hart too. Hart's up for an extension too, so we're gonna see what happens. But Dolan already said he ain't touching that second apron. So, and there's a lot of guys up for extensions. Mitchell Robinson, Shamet, like there's a few guys. So we might see some changes, but the core is going to be there. But either way, they still got a shot, man. I think they got a great shot because they still got a lot of picks too. So, I mean, we'll definitely see what happens, but. As I was mentioning before, man, Giannis is wrecking it right now. Like, these rumors are real strong. Right now it's coming down to, unless a third team or somebody swoops in, right now it's looking at it's either going to be the Celtics or the Heat. But what are your predictions? Rand, I'll start with you in terms of where do you want to see him go as opposed to where you think he's going to end up?
I don't want to see him in Boston. I don't. And I don't want to see one in Miami either. I just don't want. I don't want any. Both them teams already won in recent years. But I mean, I think if you're asking me where I want to see him, it's tough because I don't know where Giannis fits with the game, with the way the game's going, right? Because he's a dominant. He needs the ball in his hands, and he's a downhill player, and he occupies. A lot of space where other players can operate, right? And what I mean by that is, okay, I like how Boston's assembled already. I don't think they make the changes they need to make. I don't know how much Giannis is going to push them forward. That's just my opinion. I like the spacing they have with Brown, right? And they work well with spacing. I'm not a big fan of how they play. Like, it's kind of, you got the open shot, you shoot it. But with that type of style, Giannis doesn't fit. They need someone like a Cat, not someone that's working downhill. That we already got. Tatum does that, right? Actually, matter of fact, I think Tatum should do more of that.
Yeah.
And all he's going to do is just is kind of have the ball stick, in my opinion. I mean, maybe it could work because if he gets in the paint, he can dish out the shooters. But I'd rather Tatum doing that. And he looked like, even off a fresh Achilles tear, coming back in quick time, he looked like next year he'll be back to that old player. Now, when on the flip side, Miami, I think Miami's going to give up too much. And what are you going to have left? Bam in him?
I know. It's not enough.
It's not enough, right? So I'm not sure about both those teams. And I don't know where else realistically in the East. I'm thinking off the top of my head. It's not coming to me, right? And would that switch really move the needle for Boston? Maybe in the East. Maybe. I don't know. I think a team has to build around him. That's my opinion.
Yeah. What do you think, Julian?
I think on paper, just looking at it, everybody would just assume that Boston would move the needle more with the star power of Tatum and Greek Freak together. But similar like with Randall just finished with a great point. If Greek Freak comes to Boston, it got to be Greek Freak team. It can't. It's not going to be. Jalen found a way to coexist, kind of. There were two perimeter players. One picked up the slack for each other. But the way Giannis plays, he's ball dominant, man. He's a point forward that plays downhill. He's aggressive. He always applies pressure on the defense by trying to get to the rim. And it's not a lot unless they change the way he plays in terms of just always looking to penetrate and kick. I don't know how the chemistry is going to work with that, but on paper it looks like if he goes to Boston, he can move the needle. But giving up Jalen Brown's so unappreciative. Like my man held the team down while my guy was out with Achilles tear for a chunk of the season, and they didn't miss a beat in stretches. Like he's a really, really good player. And I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. Like, man, it's going to sound crazy, but if I'm Boston, I might even think about trading Tatum instead of Jalen Brown, because Jalen Brown's consistent.
Yes.
Consistency is
great point.
What moves the needle to me. I think it's something that's undervalued, and we go with the star power, we go with the politics, as you can say, or what sells tickets over like, you know, a guy that really gets it done on the court. And you know, I just admire the man because he speaks up for what's right. He's a well-rounded individual that, you know, always is not going to conform to what society thinks. Similar to my man Kyrie Irving, that speaks his mind. So I like Jalen Brown. I'm a big Jalen Brown guy. I think, you know, whatever team that ends up getting him, I think he's going to continue to do great things. But in comparison, I don't think the Miami thing does anything to me. I think it actually could be a graveyard for him. He'll get his stats, he'll do stuff, but he wants to win. And I don't know if they're going to win with that. So those two teams don't shake it up to me like that. But Boston's probably the one that they could try to find new styles and new ways. They have a good coach to try to make it work. But I actually thought the Knicks were going to be that third team. I thought the Knicks were going to be, I thought Greek was trying to get to Madison Square Garden. And it definitely would depend on what they give up for him. But I thought they was talking about like Mitchell Robinson and a couple other things, and it could have worked. But, you know, I ain't going to question what Mr. Rose is doing, because if it can get done, he's going to get it done. But he ain't going to give up the core. So I respect him too, especially coming off a chip.
Sorry, Steve, before you go, you know the team that I think, now I'm thinking about it top of my head, that he would fit? Because I know he wants to stay in the East. I think Orlando. Package around Banchero, get him out of there, pack him up. And I think that he moves the needle with that team. I'm sorry, I'll let you talk, Steve.
That's a good one. That's a good one, bro.
No, that's a good one, because Banchero looks like, I mean, they got a new coach now, so you have to see what that new coach does. But I mean, he seemed like he kind of, I wouldn't say fell off. He didn't fall off, but it's like he kind of fell back a little bit from a previous season where his potential was going to go. But Giannis is unique, man, because he's a major player. I mean, even with the injuries at this stage, the lower extremity injuries that I don't like at this stage of his career, but I mean, he's a one-of-one player. He's still top 5. He's still super dominant, but I don't think any and everybody can play with him. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's where the problem lies, right? So it's like, I feel like he's kind of like, I don't know if he's just doing this publicly, but he's not the most decisive when it comes to what he wants to do, because you're hearing rumors that he actually still wants to stay in Milwaukee. And I don't know if that's just because he wants to sign the extension and then leave, you know what I mean, and try to pocket as much money as he can and then leave. But, I mean, he's been making super max money for a minute now, so I don't know if money is really the thing that's going to move him at this point. But, yeah, like I said, it's he's in a unique situation because Boston's probably the best fit out of the two teams, but like if I'm Jalen Brown, I think even after, if this doesn't go through, I still want to leave if I'm him, because it's a kind of a disrespect, man. Like you've brought in just as much notoriety as Tatum. You don't toe the company line in terms of, because you're kind of like a social, activist in a sense. So, Tatum's a little more clean cut, but at the same time, it's like you won. I mean, you also won trophies too, man. You not even just a ring. You won the Finals MVP. You won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. You got some stats behind you too. Everybody thought you were going to be a lottery team next year. You brought them to a second seed. You was 5th or 6th in MVP voting. First team All NBA for the first time. But it's not like he wasn't making All NBA teams before this, right? So. And you can give up, and the thing is, both of these guys both make the same amount of money. Maybe Tatum's ceiling is a little higher, but at the same time, to your point, Julian, he's more, like Brown's been more consistent. You've seen games where Tatum's flamed out in the playoffs, at least a few times in certain games. Whereas Brown has been kind of steady the whole process. So if I'm him, I'm like, after all this, it's like, I know it's professional sports, and you know what I mean? Like, you can't have your feelings be interjected into all of this, but how do you not? You know what I mean? Like, it's disrespectful.
I'm holding you down like that. You got to show me some love too, man. Like,
yeah.
He doesn't get superstar treatment up there. And I think it does play a big part of that is the social activist stuff. I think that plays a part in Boston.
100%.
Other cities, it could slide a little more, but in Boston, it kind of goes against the grain. So, they might want to see him out of there. That's just my personal opinion.
I know.
But, I got a lot of love for JB.
And then I was going to say, then I feel like it's a little bit of punishment too, because for a guy that's that socially active, you're going to send him to Milwaukee. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a 3-team trade. I don't know where.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to Milwaukee. I don't think
it's a 3-team trade. I think he's supposed to go.
Well, let's hope. Because the best one I heard, I think last week, was between them, Milwaukee, and the Clippers, where they would, like, Jalen Brown would end up in the Clippers. So that might not be the worst thing either. But I mean,
I'd go to LA.
Yeah, I would, especially if they're not getting rid of Kawhi. That might be a nice little tandem between the two of them. Jeez, that might be tough too. But I mean, at the end of the day, though, like I said, I think obviously the team that has the most assets can do this, which is OKC. But I don't like him there either, because I think he kind of messes up their offense. Because like you would trade Chet there, but in Chet's defense, like, Chet actually opens up the spacing a little bit better, right? And that team is Shea. I love that team, and I don't want Shea to have to relinquish some of that responsibility. He deserves his time right now. He's entering his prime, so he needs the proper support. And I don't think it has to be Giannis. You know what I mean? Like, even though they're gonna get a ton of picks, they don't need him. They don't need him, because they could have won this again if guys weren't hurt. So they don't need him.
If I'm quarters or minutes away from a championship, I'm going to keep my core.
Yeah.
And these teams we're talking about, they're a quarter or two away from a championship. So like that can come down to off-season training. That can come down to, the coaching. That core, if your core is strong in that NBA, you got to keep your core together, because you got to win them games and give yourself a chance. These teams we're talking about have a chance. And some of these teams don't have a chance. And Giannis is a generational talent that can move the needle to give any team a chance, because, like we just said earlier, he brought a championship to Milwaukee. Who would have thought that?
Yeah,
that don't happen. That's not a media market. That's not a big team, but he has a will to win. He's a special type of player, but you got to put him in a situation where it can be around him. He has to be the whale in the bathtub instead of the goldfish in the ocean.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I agree with that. It's funny, the team that I actually want to see him go to, I know the assets won't work. This won't actually happen in real life, but I think the team that would be great for him to go to would be Minnesota. I think you put him beside Ant-Man. Whew. He's the guy?
I was just trying to say that before. I was just about to say that. I was like, you know what? The only other team that really I see him fit in is Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Randall doesn't move the needle to me.
No, they don't have the assets for it, but they would be the perfect team. They'd be the perfect team, because I think Ant-Man is at a stage where it's like he's a great talent, but it's like he gets pretty far and he's a dog, but there's something missing. I think he needs to see like professionalism with Giannis and being around that every day, and that kind of psychotic work ethic, that maniacal like will to win. I feel like he needs to see that.
Mm-hmm.
No, 100%. But like, yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting, because I mean, by the time we put this out, he might be traded. So you know what I mean, which might be in a couple hours. We don't know what's gonna happen there, but it's definitely shaking the needle. But again, like I said, for me, it's a tough thing to determine, because he's a unique player. You can't put him with anybody. Like, I thought for sure when Lillard got to Milwaukee, it was like, oh man, this is gonna be crazy. And then like halfway through the year, you're like, man, are they working? Like, could this work? Because he has the ball in his hands too much. I've watched times where Dame is inbounding the ball to Giannis to bring up the ball. and run the offense. You're like, yo, this is what's going on here, you know?
Sure.
So I think that's part of it. But with the draft happening now, obviously that's tomorrow. There's probably one of the best drafts that we've seen or prospects in like years. It's rivaling the 96 draft, the 2003 draft. I mean, we'll see what happens, but there's a lot of top tier potential coming out of it. There's a lot of prospects. I mean, I think literally in the top 5, you can't lose it. I think if just being in the top 5 as it is. But for you guys, who are your favorite prospects that you like? Whether it's under the radar, whether it's like even the top tier guys, like who are the guys for you that kind of like, man, if I can have them on my team, that's who I really want.
I mean, I'm gonna go quick first. I'm gonna just say, I got to go with the yard man. Got to go with my man AJ. I need him to go 1. And my sleeper in the draft will probably be Quadric Copeland, my guy, 6'6" point guard out of NC State, led the ACC in assists, had some monster games this year, and just brought the flair back to the ACC that's been missing for a while. But yeah, AJ, that's my top pick, and I'll go with Quadric Copeland as my sleeper.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, AJ's unanimous. And then after that, I mean, I know a lot of people are not a big fan of him at the league level, college level. He was good, but I still like Cameron Boozer. He's been a guy at every level. He's 6'8". He got that big frame. He's a sound positional defender. He's the most efficient guy I think coming out the draft. That's really like the thing with AJ is like one of those guys you never know, right? Like he's gonna hit, either he hits the ground running or he just takes a little bit of time to kind of get going before he really breaks out, right? I mean, we see it all the time with those guys with the high expectations. A lot of them come in and it's like, now you're playing with men, right? And I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm sure he's going to take over, but it may take him a while to really get going and be that guy out the gate like LeBron or whatnot, or even like last year's draft, right? With Flag. But I do think that Boozer's one of the guys that I think that's NBA ready now. Is it Peterson is another one. Caleb Wilson as a sleeper.
Love Caleb Wilson.
Yeah, I like him a lot. There's a few guys. I like that Houston guard Sharp. I forgot his first name. Is it Emmanuel Sharp?
Sharp? You talk from Houston? You talking about Kingston Flemings?
Yeah.
Kingston Flemings you're talking about.
Yeah.
Kingston Flemings?
Yeah. I thought he was all right. I think he was solid. I don't, he's one of the guys I admired a lot watching him throughout the tourney and stuff. Outside of that, I don't know. I mean, the good thing about this draft, there's a lot of bigs that I think could break out and do some stuff, right? It depends on the team they fall. Like I like Reed Jr. on UConn. A lot of length with him. I like the guy from Michigan. He's more of a forward, but Johnson. Who else is there?
The Myra kid, his teammate.
The other center from Houston as well.
Yeah.
Chris, what's his name? Zenak, is it? But anyhow, I do think there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of depth, like you said, in this draft, and
deep draft.
Deep draft. And I'll call this right now. I think there's going to be in the second round a lot, because there's so much length and bigs that will probably go in the first round. There's going to be another Brunson in the second round. There's going to be another Brunson in the second round.
It's definitely deep draft. And we can't forget about my man at Arkansas, Darius Acuff. He was a steady grinder all season. Showed up in all the big games. He's built for the lights. He's built for the moment. I mean, and we can't forget. We talked about NBA ready. Grown men is ready to come in the league. We got to mention Yaxel from Michigan. Yaxel had a all around year. He's very versatile, and he put Michigan in position, man. And from the interior and from the perimeter as well. So it's a very deep draft. Mikael Brown out of Louisville. He's an interesting prospect as well. It's going to be a lot of movement, and I think it's going to be an unpredictable draft because we have to weigh in the overseas talent that's going to get picked in the first round. Is going to shift up some of these big names that we're accustomed to in college, and it's going to push, like Randall said, some really good guys into that second round. So, I'm excited to watch the draft tomorrow and support, all these young men that are having opportunity to change their family dynamic even more than what they've done in college and achieve their dreams.
It's funny you say international talent, because this is the first year that I haven't, normally every year you're hearing some type of gem that comes from France or from, wherever. This is the first year it's more NCAA guys.
Yeah.
You think that's something to do with the transfer portal?
Think about it, Rand. Think about it. Think about why. Because guess what? Those kids are in college now because they're getting money.
Getting paid.
That guard from BYU last year, they got drafted. He went to BYU because he probably made more money in that 1 year than he would have made overseas. So look at Illinois' team. Illinois has all those overseas guys from that one agent that's bringing all those guys to University of Illinois. So that transition of bringing the overseas guys and college being more of an option now because of the financial means is really shifting it up. But it's also taking away more scholarships from our guys and guys that are trying to high school kids. The high school athlete has really suffered because of the portal, because of the new 5-year rule that's going to go through now, where all the guys in Division I are going to get a 5th year now. So a high school kid, it's like, that's why you see Division II schools are eating.
Yeah.
I mean, Division III schools are getting great players. NAI schools are getting great players. JUCO is the new creative lane to get where you got to get to now. So, guys are going to now. At prep schools, even more of an option now because you want to get older, you want to get stronger, you want to give yourself another opportunity to get re-recruited. So the landscape is changing constantly so much, and that's kind of what I deal with every day, what I do with difference makers. But I just find it like you got to keep researching, you got to keep thinking of innovative ways to give these high school kids a better chance, because with the overseas kids coming now and, basketball is changing. It's almost become a sport. It used to be a sport where if you didn't have financial means, it was a great option. And you see all the kids that were coming up had hard stories and hard lives. But now you look at basketball, it's a game of privilege now.
Yeah.
If you don't have trainers, if you don't have access to indoor gyms, if you don't have ways to check out analytics and different things like that, you're not going to have the same opportunity as just a kid that just walks to the park by himself and gets shots up and works on his game by himself, because everything's become so much more of a business. It's become so much more. Kids are becoming professionals in high school because there's money on the line. When money gets trickled in, now everything changes. And you got high school kids signing $1 million Red Bull on contract. So the money changes things. So basketball is becoming a sport where that inner city kid or that kid that comes from nothing has to work twice as hard to get the same opportunities to get that type of exposure and spotlight.
It's funny. I had a conversation with DJ Burns' father. Actually, he was at my nephew's wedding. Shout out to him, Mr. Burns. But I remember we had this conversation about his son, and he's like, Calvin, he said, if my son was born 2 years later, he said, we would be millionaires right now. Because remember that run that his son made in NC State as the big man, and I mean, he said he caught like they caught like the beginning of it before he left. But he's like 2 more years. He's like, bro. He's like, man. He's like, he's like, even for like kids now coming up, he's like, man, these kids will be millionaires before they even get to college. You know what I mean? Like that's where the landscape is going. And to your point, like D2 and some of these schools now, they're and even low D1s, they're like low key farm systems for the Power 4 conference now, right? Even up north, even up here, and like some of these schools up here, it's like everything's a feeding ground for the Power 4 conference. It's crazy because they said too this year that this is the least amount of kids that actually declared. So many kids stayed in school, right? Because the money was good. You can develop an extra little bit of time. And I mean, it's actually good for your skill set, but my concern sometimes a little bit too, the ripple effects of it is like bouncing around to all these different schools at the same time too. It's like, you're not staying in one place. Like some of these kids are going to like 4 schools in 4 years. It's like the stability isn't, like there's too many voices of different coaches, styles. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if it's all conducive, but I get it though, because the money.
It's professional basketball now. It's not college.
Yeah. It's about money, right? It's about money.
It's pay for play now, man. And that's
it.
That's what it's come to. So if they change that new rule now and make it where you only can transfer one time within 4 years, it'll give a little bit of more continuity to college sports.
Yeah.
Which might be needed, but it's going to be strategic where guys are going to be signing 2-year deals now and doing different things and leveraging their school. Like, guess what? I might leave if you don't give me more money. And it's going to be more of a bargaining tool. Now, they're going to find ways to still make it work. But I think one transfer instead of being able to transfer 4 times will give some stability that's well needed and much needed in college sports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
you guys think it's reciprocal, though? So like when I say, forget about the money side of things, but the fact that people are deferring to stay in college longer means it kind of goes back to, like, when we first started really falling in love with basketball in the 80s, where, you're getting more that rounded man development player coming into the league, right? And is instead of the league developing these players, they're coming in with a little bit more of that season, and that nuance that's kind of lacking, sometimes in the NBA, right? Because it's kind of like two polar. You have the older guys that learn on the fly, and the younger guys that are kind of trying to find their feet because they didn't spend enough time in college to do that, right?
I agree. I think there's something to be said about being in college, even if you are shifting around to 2 or 3 schools or more. That college experience helps you grow. I think helps you mature. And you see a lot of times with some of these teenagers that get into the NBA, they're getting into a lot of trouble off the court because some of them don't have the mentorship or the guidance that they need. And you give a teenager millions and millions of dollars, it's tough. But if that teenager has been dealing with millions and millions of dollars before they even went to the NBA, they're more likely to, be successful, I think, and they'll come in a little bit more.
Does that hurt your draft? Does that hurt your draft stock though?
Being older, I think it used to. I think it used to.
I don't think it does now, though. No,
less now. Remember before Kentucky, one year you go to the NBA, they were drafting guys out of Kentucky to average 7 points a game of potential. But I think now the seasoned player is a little bit more appreciated now than ever before. So I think staying in school. They still got Yaxel going lottery or early first round, and he's going to be, I think, maybe 24. So like the kid from Michigan. So it didn't hurt him that much. So
what about Jaden Bradley? Jaden Bradley from Arizona. I like that kid a lot, and I think he's a pro now guy, right? Mm-hmm. But I think he's the type of guy that's going to fall to the second round because of his age. I think he's a first round guy, but
they'll get a good player. He'll be coming to the NBA with a couple million already in his pocket from Arizona anyway, so he'll be fine. He'll be all right.
Well, what's his face? Yaxel. Don't let him end up in OKC because that's where he might fall. And if he does, they need a player like that because he would fit perfect into that system. Perfect, especially with the size and everything else. He'd be perfect. But like I said, this might be its own separate podcast. But I feel like there is a documentary in the future with all these kids getting millions or a ton of NIL money, and then there's going to be kids that's going to be blown through that by the time they get to 25, right? Because do they have the financial literacy? You know what I mean? Like some of them, are they prepared for that? Is their family prepared for that? You know what I mean? So it's I wish all the best and the success for all these kids, but there are going to be some stories that we're going to hear, not right now, but you're going to hear it, 5 years, 10 years from now. You're going to hear some of the dark sides of this too.
Yeah, I think it will, but I think it is dope though that they are highlighting some of the young kids, like the kid in North Carolina that bought a Baskin Robbins ice cream shop with his NIL money.
Yeah.
There's guys that are investing in car lots, that are doing different things. And I think it kind of forces you to learn some financial literacy because in their eyes, they're playing with house money. I'm in college, I'm making this NIL money. But guess what? The house money can set you up to never have to work again.
That's
you
it.
never have to shoot a basketball as a professional. You can get into real estate. You can get into all different types of investments. Yeah. The college players that are in our program, we have a financial advisor. Frank Simpson is one of the best financial advisors in the country that helps our guys and do basic things from as opening up a Charles Schwab account with a solid interest rate to taking chances on in certain types of investments that might be coming in on his desk on a daily basis. So it depends, what kids want to try to do, but we definitely try to preach that in our program to make sure that none of the guys that come through different makers end up being a horror story or one of those 30 for 30s on the bad end of the stick. I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. It's inevitable.
And that's the thing too. Like, I mean, they're gonna see that side, but you obviously want to see the positive and see what these kids can do. Because at the end of the day, I mean, to make the NPA, it's still like the 1%, right? Like out of all these kids. So it's like if you're anything below that, you study financial literacy, you could set your family up for life, right? And that's the most important thing. And then, like I said again, it doesn't force you to now after like your sophomore year, you're like, all right. I'm going to enter the league. Now you can actually take your time and make some money. You don't have to worry about that.
Enjoy college. College, Randall, college was all right for us, wasn't it? Imagine we was getting millions of dollars, living the life we lived in college. We felt like millionaires, and we was living off a Pell Grant. Well, you didn't get it because they wouldn't give it to you.
They didn't get it
with me, and we was living. So, just imagine they gave us $1 million in college. Man, but without the right guidance, it can get ugly. But I think, it's all about your circle and having the right people around you, whether it's your family, whether you have a good agent, whether you have, somebody that you're tapped in with to kind of help guide you. Everybody is in need of that type of guidance once you get into that type of money.
Facts.
Yeah, 100%. I think my 3 favorite players coming into this draft, I'm not going to include my nephew in this, but he knows he's one of my favorites. But a shout out to Jalen Celestine. But I definitely like Acuff. You know what I mean? I see that he signed with Reebok, so it looks like Iverson's kind of taking him under his wing a little bit. And I'll be honest, man, I see Reebok's making a little bit of a comeback. I cannot understand for the life of me how they did not have somebody representing the question or the answer shoes for like. That alone could have kept them in business with the right player. I said for years, I'm like, that should have been John Morant's position, right?
Sure.
And they fell asleep on that, but it looks like Acuff might be the guy. I hope they're smart enough to rebrand the questions or the answers, because with that right mentorship too on top of that, I mean, it's perfect. He's in line for that. Like if he can end up in a city like, I know New York just won the title, but it's like if he can end up with Brooklyn and give them some shine, like he's gonna do work right away. My other kid is like Wilson. Like I said, I love Caleb Wilson. I know we got hurt earlier in the year, but I was really impressed with some of the North Carolina games that I watched with him. But I like the Banster too. The Bansters, I mean, he's all world. He's going to give you 20, 25, all that, like, almost right away. I don't know if this is popular conventional thinking, but I still really like Darren Peterson, man. And I don't understand. I'm not excusing all the setbacks in terms of him sitting out games and stuff. And I think that's why he's made himself kind of fall a little bit, at least from that number 1 spot. But to me, like watching him play, he's like, man, I don't want to say he's the most pro-ready guy, but my God, I think he can do like 20, like not 25, but at least an easy 20 right away. Right.
Smooth pro game.
Oh my God. Like, that guy is like no wasted movements. Everything is super efficient. He gets to his spots. And that game, because I sat back and I watched that game when they played BYU. And I always say, if you look at the box score, that's a mistake. Because if you watch that game, he was killing everybody that first half. And then he pulled himself out. But he had like whatever he finished with in the stat line. I think he had like 20-something points. He got pretty much all of it in the first half. He was killing everybody. You know what I mean? And
it just scares me though, Cal, man, that it's millions of dollars on the line. You know that there's scrutiny. You know that the cameras is on you. It's all eyes on you like Tupac, and you can't play the second half of multiple games during the year. Like, yo, and then you're talking about pickle juice and cramping and all that. You're playing at one of the highest ranked institutions in the NCAA. They have the best doctors, the best this, the best that, and you can't finish a game? Do I love his game? Yes, I seen him play in high school. He played for the New Jersey Scholars, actually. He played at AU on an EYBL with the Scholars when I saw him when he was younger, and I knew he was special. But that, if I'm an NBA executive or a GM, that would scare me because it's either he doesn't want to be out there in that second half and he's pacing himself, or he wants to be out there and something's really wrong and I just can't. Either answer is unacceptable to me. So that scares me. Sample size, questionable. Talent, unquestionable.
Yeah.
Were they saying that he had they found out the reason why he was cramping and they use some type of supplement?
Something about creatine or something, like too much creatine or so, I don't know.
Yeah, they're trying to put a narrative to save his image on.
Yeah, but to me, I wasn't like when I saw his coach. I'm forgetting his name now. Bill Self. Yeah, when I saw Bill Self at one point after a game, and he was like, "I don't know why he pulled himself out." Like once he did that, I was like, "Yeah, that's not good."
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Bill Self want to win. Bill Self recruited you as the number one player in the country to come there. Yeah. Bill Self wants you to go out there and show off and help him win the championship. If you're pulling yourself out, I just don't. There's no explanation that justifies that. For me. That's why, is he the most pro ready? Yes. Does he have the smoothest game? Absolutely. But at least I go with AJ because AJ might be a little more sporadic and maybe a little more inconsistent in terms of he needs a lot of shots to get his bucket sometimes. But AJ's out there working on his game. He's taking pro shots and he has the length, the athleticism. If he gets with the right coach, he can and work on his efficiency.
Yeah.
That's the limit, man, because he just has to be more efficient. And he showed it in flashes. But the injury stuff, that scares me.
It does, because like the one thing with the Banster that like he improved his playmaking later in the year, but the beginning of the year I was like it was very Bel Air preppish. You know what I'm saying? Like it was very it was crazy. It was crazy. I'm like, yo, does this guy pass at all? Like, does he ever pass? Like it's crazy. But I mean, but like I said again, I mean, he's more than likely going to be the number one pick, even though I think that like as of even today, Washington's still kind of deciding on who that's going to be.
You go anyway. You never know with these guys.
Yeah, you never know because I mean, it's
going to be a lot of trades on draft day. I think some people going to be shifting positions.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I think at worst Peterson falls to the Grizzlies, which might not be a bad thing either. Put him up with Edie and like let them go to work. And I guess they'll probably flip Moran at some point. But yeah, like I said, to me, that's like he's the biggest question mark. But like I said, after he played the Banster against BYU, I was like, yeah, he just wrapped up the number one pick, no question. Like it's over, you know what I mean? And then he just kept pulling himself out of games, like he did it to himself. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? But before we wrap, though, Julian, I wanna make you feel at home. I don't know if this is your team or not, but I know you live in Philly. The Sixers right now is kind of going through a weird journey right now. What does the future of the Sixers look like in your eyes right now? Like what from this point, what are we doing right now with the Sixers? What are we doing?
I think we should shake some things up, man. I mean, we got to keep Maxey. We got a good core. VJ, tough.
Shout out to VJ.
Questionable rookie of the year, tough. And but I think it's time to abandon the process, man. I think we got to move on from the process. And I got a lot of love for Embiid. I'm not an Embiid hater. I know what it's like to deal with injuries and different things of that nature. Not making an excuse, but you got to get yourself back in shape. You got to give it all you got and put together a campaign to give us some consistency to get back at the chip. And I don't think he got it in him. So I think if we cut our ties now, we can probably get some assets that can help us take some steps in the right direction as long as we keep that perimeter core together. But I think there's some teams that would love to have Embiid, and maybe they can get him into shape and get him healthy, and he can become a shell of his former self and help somebody else. But I think if I'm the Leon Rose of the Sixers, I'm gonna try to shop Embiid around and get some assets for him that can help us win right away.
I want him to retire. Man. And again, and Randall could tell you, I was the flag bearer of that Embiid bandwagon for years, bro. Like listen, man, like from Kansas, I was like, from when I saw the workouts from Kansas, I was like, yo, I'm flying this flag. It's only a couple of years ago where I was finally like, I shed a tear and I had to hop off the bandwagon, man. I had to do it because I was like, it's too much, man. Like, and it's not just it's not just the knee. It's like every part of his body goes down for weeks on end. Like his body's not, it seems like it's not made for professional sports, even though it may look like it, but it just clearly is not made for professional sports. Like this guy had to load manage for pretty much all this season. He played 30 something games and could still had no lift in the playoffs. I'm like, man, like I think like for me, I'm like I don't, he's getting older. It's not, this is, I wish him good health, but I don't think this is gonna get better. So to me at this stage, I'm kind of like, maybe he should shut this down, because who's gonna take him at this stage? Especially when they, he's still owed like $180 million over 3 years, like 60 mil a year, easy.
Maybe come up with something, man. Buy out, trade him, do something, give him something, but he got to go. And guess what? Business is business. That's what I say. Business is business, but we can't take that next step, I think, with the process still being in Philly.
Hogging up the money. Him and Paul George.
Yeah, but at least PG gave me some flashes in the playoffs, but I can't have two.
Yeah.
I want to build one, but I can't have both of them.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Rand?
Man, I feel bad for Philly fans. I mean, they're at a crossroads. Honestly, it's almost like Shakespearean. Think about it. Like their season ended in a sweep into the hands of the Knicks, right? Remember what Embiid said post game? I don't even know what's going on here. I don't know if I'm gonna be here, but whatever happens, happens. That's one of your fucking franchise guy. He's emotionally checked out, y'all. Like I don't know what else to say. I mean, and again, you guys said it, so I don't just reiterate it. The contract situation is brutal. You got Embiid, you got George, combined just 60 appearances over the season, over making close to 110 million. I mean, that's roughly, that's think about all the assets you get with that. Yeah, that's all the cap. It's unsustainable, and by any measure. I don't know. Like another front office has to be completely overhauled, right? Because the guy who drafted Embiid is gone, right?
The guy that made these trades for Jordan, he's gone too.
The guy who gave him the extension is fired. I mean, there's zero emotional attachment to him, from the new decision makers. So if the right offer comes, he's gone, right?
Hold on. We are here bashing the Sixers. What is Toronto gonna do? Let me know, since y'all got all the answers. You ain't gonna sit here and just talk about Philly and think I'm not gonna ask you what y'all doing. Y'all ain't doing that.
Listen, I said it already. I'm on the lone rider on this. I said let's bring Morant here.
Yeah, let's shake it up. He would love. Toronto's a great city. He would like it.
Mm-hmm.
He got a lot of juice left in the tank.
Yeah.
I don't want.
And the money's not crazy. The money's not crazy.
Tickets, y'all be back. Sell some tickets. Bring some people around you.
You would.
Yeah.
Let y'all just sit
you would have all the yardage.
Hey man, just need some excitement back. Y'all arena.
I mean, the problem with him, and we were on the Raptor talk. I mean, I'm the resident Raptor guy. So the problem with him, and I said it before, that he fit what we had before, right? After Fred left. I was like, yeah, that at the time, I said, maybe we can roll with that. Now with the roster we have no shooting. He can't shoot. I can shoot better than him. That's bad. He can't shoot. So what are we gonna do with a player like that?
Figure it out.
You gotta bring some guys in with him.
Figure it out.
Maybe it's a little mini overhaul. Bring him in, get a Duncan Robinson, get some guys around. You know what I mean? You just ain't gonna cost you that much. You're gonna go get some shooters.
Thank you. I was gonna say you can get shooting. We need shooting anyway. That's the thing. We need shooting anyway. I mean, you can get shooting, but like,
who's your starting point guard? I don't even know.
Quickly.
Oh,
but Quickly's gonna be gone. I think.
Yeah.
I think Quickly. They may do. The problem with the Raptors and Bobby Webster. I don't think he likes making any. Like those guys, he's in the vein of Messiah. Those guys are very methodical. They work slow. They try to get 30 cents on the dollar, right? They're always trying to trying to make some brilliant move. If not, we're gonna stay pat, right?
Out of the box, keep it safe.
Yeah, and I mean they have the assets now to make some moves, but I think the major pieces that, to my opinion, that gotta go. Poto gotta go. He just gotta go. Quickly gotta go. Like, we need a point guard. Like he's a 2 guard. That's the point guard body. And then the biggest decision that we have to make is what are we gonna do with RJ? Right?
Yeah.
RJ had a good playoff run. What are we gonna do with RJ? You know what I mean? That's, shout out Ducky, but what are we gonna do with RJ? Ron Barrett, the GOAT. What are we gonna do with RJ? I know he likes playing at the crib, but what are we gonna do?
Can you win with him? Can you get to the next level with him?
I don't mind him.
As a main piece.
No, he's not a main piece. No, he's not a main piece. He's not a main piece, but
his contract is really good though. That's the thing. His contract is so nice right now.
His contract's almost up, so he's a tradable option, and many teams want him. And then, and again, I say this all the time: 3 guys occupy the same kind of space on the floor. He does, even though his shot got a lot better. Scotty does, right? And then Ingram, to me, if someone wants to take Ingram in that contract, get him out of here.
So you're saying move one of those 3 and open it up?
Well, Barnes is untouchable. They're not going to go, right? But you're gonna have, it's between if RJ or Ingram. I don't see Ingram going anywhere. I don't see many people wanting him, especially after that playoff run. Even if he says he had or hurt, whatever it was, Achilles or heel, so he'll be staying. I think RJ is going to be going. And it just depends on what kind of package we get back, what type of players. I don't see Morant coming here because if they're going to get Morant, they could have got him in the offseason. Again, nobody wanted him because he was all-time low. We could have got someone for him. We didn't make that.
But that's draft night. Let's see tomorrow. Draft night tomorrow.
But this is the whole point I'm trying to make though too, Rand. Is like as I'm like Jaws, like it's the stock has never been lower. That's where you cash in, right? You're getting in low on the stock.
Hurry up,
right?
I'll tell you this. You know who I don't think Bobby's gonna go for him. I don't personally think. But I do think that Miami might go for Morant. Yeah, especially if there's a big shape up with Giannis. I think he's been attached to Minnesota for a while. And then the other dumb team that would pick him up and just do stupidness is Sacramento.
Yeah, but we don't want to see that.
But imagine the train wreck there. That would be a show.
No, I don't know. We don't need to see.
I'm not saying we want to see him there. I can see Sacramento just doing some dumb shit and just
just trying to sell tickets. Trying to sell tickets. But like I said, with the Raptors, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm like his ceiling is still so high. You know what I mean? It's like even though he's in year 8, it's like he's gotten to that part before. So it's like you put him in the right environment. And I'll say it again. Can you trust your environment to have him and everybody what goes with it? You know what I mean? As part of your roster. If you can, you got to explore it, man. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. You got to explore it and see. But going back to Philly for a quick second, though, shout out to VJ because I know some people were surprised by how we played last year. I can tell you as somebody who watched a lot of Baylor games because he was playing with Jalen the 1 year that he was there. You could see that there was moments where the coaching staff was kind of the offense wasn't holding him back. And I could say this like really and truly, we see all these big name coaches. We think, man, these guys are gods. These guys are legends. And then when you sit down and you really study them for like a season, a year, and you're like, man, the assistant coach is really running shit, huh? Like, it really isn't you, is it? You know what I mean? Like call a spade, but it's like, trust me, I watch every game. After a while, you're like, yo, what is these guys? What are they doing? And then it's funny because when they won the championship, the top associate coach, he got the job at I think it's Tang. His last name is. He's Trini. He actually went to Kansas State. They just rehired him back.
Yep.
They just rehired him back. So that's to tell you, right? And look, this year they had two guys that would like Cameron Carr is going to be a lottery pick too. They're always getting studs, but they had one of the worst years this year. So I thought the offense kind of held him back. So I wasn't surprised by what I saw. Because if you saw him come into high school and all that stuff, you knew this guy had oodles of potential, right? So him and Maxey is, whew.
Let me ask y'all one question, man. Let me ask and get Randall, Cal, answer this question. And think about it, process. Take like 30 seconds to think for your answer. And I'm jumping back to the Knicks real quick. Is Jalen Brunson the best left-handed player of all time?
Ooh,
if not, who's better and why?
Oof.
Who do you think automatically before this run?
Like left-handed player, period, or left-handed guard?
Just left-handed, period. Yeah. You can say guard, player, who? It doesn't matter.
It's tough.
You would have to say James Harden would be up there of all time.
Yeah.
Almost 30,000 points. Is James Harden better than Jalen Brunson?
No.
You said that easy, right? So then who's better than Jalen Brunson if James Harden ain't it?
If I'm going to say all time, it's hard for me to say like who's above, but I'll tell you who's in his class just for what they represented to the franchise. You don't even have to leave the city because Willis Reed, right? Left-handed. You know what I mean? Two chips.
He's a 6'7" center. No,
I know.
Next.
I know. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Great name, great, but Jalen Brunson.
I'll be honest with you.
David Robinson.
That's a tough one. David Robinson.
You could say, James
Bill Russell.
Yeah, like look what we pulling straws right now.
Yeah. I even want to say Ginobili, but
that's what I thought you were going to say when you said Ginobili pops in mind.
Yeah, Ginobili too. There's a few,
but we're talking about the best player of all time.
Mm-hmm. Right? Player all around.
Yeah. So
all right. So winning is in there. Development, everything is in there.
Well, I think he's definitely up there for sure. He's definitely
he might be it. I mean, I'm looking at a list right now. David Robinson,
4 years ago.
Harden, Willis Reed,
Chris Mullin,
Tiny Archibald, Ginobili, Chris Mullin, Chris Bosh. He's better than all of them. David Robinson, I think we remember to mention that.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's the greatest story.
It's a great story, man.
It's the greatest story. Like it's not even close.
Somebody brought that up to me, and I never thought about him like that. Like, greatest left-handed player of all time. Then when you think about it, you got to keep him in contention. You got to put him up there.
Yeah, he's up there. He's definitely up there. I hesitate putting him above Robinson because I remember the Admiral when he was in his prime, man.
Admiral's amazing, but in terms of doing more with less and being around, like, come on, man.
Yeah,
you think he did more or less?
No, I'm talking about in terms of individual talent. Can't jump, can't run.
Yeah, got you.
Like, Robinson, 7'1" freak athlete, left hand, jump out the gym.
Yeah,
did his Army tour, came back, still number one pick. Like that was crazy.
Yeah, super stud. He actually gets forgotten in history actually at this point now, which is wild. But he was Robinson. He gets lost. He gets lost right now. But yeah, no, it's a good question though. Like he's definitely up there. Like 1,000,000%. He's definitely top 5. Just for what he did with the Knicks, top 4 easy.
And is he the best? Is he the best Knick of all time?
I wouldn't say. I put him in the Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm. So who's above him?
Well, I don't even put him above. I just say Mount Rushmore. Him, Ewing, Clyde Frazier, Willis Reed. I put those 4 there with Bernard King, basically like outside the door.
That's tough. Bernard was one of my favorites.
He was tough. It's just the career wasn't as long. That's all, But yeah, he was.
His own father said Ewing is better than him. That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's what keeps him on his toes because his dad is on him like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, he got a chance to be. Let him repeat. Shit, let him get 2.
Conversation next year.
Yeah, no, 100%. Before we wrap, though, just last thing I want to say, though, I want to thank you, Julian, for hopping on. As a first timer, man. I definitely appreciate you. You more than welcome back. You know what I mean, to the home. We like to welcome the I like to welcome people to the family. You could definitely go to the fridge and get yourself a cup of orange juice, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I like that.
The liquor's in the top cabinet. But just real quick, I just wanted you to get into why you started Difference Makers before we head out.
I just wanted to provide a service that could make the journey a lot easier, not only for the players but for the parents, because the landscape is constantly changing, like we touched on earlier, and they need guidance, man. And I just think, where I said it in another interview, I used the term like we're like a GPS for the student athlete and the parent to help them get to where they need to get to through this game. And we use basketball as a tool to create opportunities for these kids. The education is the ultimate goal. It can lead to changing your family dynamic, and everything else on top is just like dessert. The opportunity to play professional, the opportunity to do special things through basketball, but getting that scholarship and getting a chance to provide a vessel to get that education, that is our number one goal. And that's something we're actually batting 100% in that in 12 years. Every kid that's come to the program that's wanted to be a part of that, almost 3% that play college basketball, has went on to do that. I mean, me and Randall have collaborated on kids from Canada to help them to get into school and get opportunities. So it's like, you don't have to just train with me or be engulfed in our program for me to help you. If I can pick up the phone and help a kid get into school, we're going to do that as well. But, the kids that have been in our program that wanted to play college basketball, they've all played at some level. So that's something that I'm really proud of. And, getting opportunity to further their education and move on and do great things. With some of our best players, we have kids in a program like, Samardo Samuels, Yachty from Jamaica, went to Louisville, played in Cleveland for 3 years.
Yeah,
basketball success story. Jerome Jordan went to Tulsa, played for Brooklyn, played with the Knicks, I think, as well, played overseas. He was a kid that when I was at Maine, I was coaching at Maine at the time, we had an opportunity to get him. And our coaches, I was the assistant coach, I had a juice. They didn't think he was good enough. He goes to Tulsa, red shirts, because he wasn't good enough to play at Tulsa, but they saw 7'1", intangibles, good football, played soccer growing up, moves well, red-shirted him, he put the work in. He ended up being a draft pick and having a long career. I think he just finished playing pro. He might still even be playing. But these are guys that I saw something in, and we've taken chances on, and they end up flourishing. And we have countless kids that have went on and played Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, and they're all equal success stories. And we've had kids that went on to play D3 and be financial consultants, and went on and have come back and went and spoke to the kids and planted seeds for the next kid that might not have been 6'8" to be successful in the business world using basketball. So that satisfaction from just using basketball as a tool to create opportunities, that's why I created Difference Makers, and just kind of be a guidance to the student athlete and the parents.
No, definitely shout out to you, man. And people don't realize too, like we're always talking about the basketball pro level aspect. There's so much jobs that's connected to basketball, from college to pros, like, trainers, scouts. Like there's so much jobs that's available to you. You know what I mean? That people don't even think about, where you can start out, like you come out of college and be making six figures right away, just based on your experience.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But we only focus on the aspect of hooping, but we don't focus on, like, there's so much jobs that's connected to it, man. But, definitely shout out to you, man, in terms of the program that you're running. And, I definitely wish you continued succse. I hope you're doing this until you're gray. You're old and gray. You know what I mean? And same with you, Randall, as well, as you know.
For sure.
So quick question with Difference Makers. So I know a lot of it is about development. Is it what would you say the scale of it is development? Because that's your forte, right? Like, working on guys' crafts and getting, working on that individual, finding what they need to work on and building on it. I've seen you do it from individual. I've seen you do it from a large group. Is it more a training program that encompasses the nuances around basketball, or is it a well-rounded kind of?
I think it morphed into more of a business over time, Rand. I think it started off as the training being the meat and potatoes of it, but now there's so much business involved in it, from NIL to, management to sports agents to, different groups just approaching these kids, trying to poach on them. So we just try to protect the kid, man. We try to protect the kid from the outside noise and keep him on a narrow path. So it's almost, I would consider it being like Rockefeller, man. Like you start off, Jay-Z was rapping, and eventually you want to be in the corporate world and take on, wear many hats that can help the kids from a more powerful seat. And I think that's the seat that I've been sitting in now. And do I like getting out there and getting that sweat equity in with the kids and knowing, I'm never going to stop doing that. But I also want to, like we touched on, guide the kids towards financial literacy when they just sign a $1.2 million contract in college and don't know what to do with that money, and make sure that they're moving in the right path. So we want to keep our kids aligned all the way through from every aspect of the game. So it's kind of morphed into more of a complete thing than just the training and the development.
You know what's interesting? That because you don't really deal with the club AAU. You may do some showcase runs and stuff and have a showcase different.
Yeah, I have relationships with them because I always do feel, I didn't mean to cut you off, but having relationships with all the AAU programs, it's beneficial because I might have 3 great point guards. All 3 can't go play for one EYBL team. So one on the EYBL team, one might play Under Armour, one might play Adidas, one might play Puma, one might play New Balance. So I try to spread it out for fit with the guys and maintain positive relationships with as many programs as possible because I have a lot of kids that are going to need homes.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I brought my program to a circuit. We played this team from the South Jersey, Philly area, right? And before the game, I'm chopping it up with the coach. We're talking. And I'm going to go, you from that area? I know him well, blah, blah, blah. One of my close friends is out there. If you know him, I'm like, Julian Dunkley. He's like, Julian Dunkley? Difference maker? You know it? I'm like, you from Canada, right? Like, yeah, I know him. We go back, blah, blah, blah. He's like, this is how, it's like an agent. He turns to me and goes, that kid's a difference maker kid. He's a difference maker kid. He's a difference maker kid. It was like, damn. And he turns on the court. Over there's that kid that's past the difference making kid. That's the broad reach of what it is, right?
For sure.
It's just interesting because I wonder, have you seen, not to get off topics, I know we're ending soon, but I'm just looking at the landscape because we don't have anything like that in Canada. The only thing we do similar, I think people are starting to see that and build it. Do you, now that you've kind of started broadening your brand and you're having that reputation, are people trying to kind of jump in your lane, or are you still kind of the innovator of it?
They many people, I think imitation is the best form of flattery. Like a lot of people that jumped into the lane. I mean, even when I was training, there was no trainers. Now you blink, everybody's a trainer. Anybody can be a trainer. They could go on YouTube and pick out 10 drills and say that they invented them and do the dream drills with the kids. So training, I always say, it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. And when I say that, me telling you to do something might be a lot different from Edward telling you to do something, because Edward didn't, spar with the best of them. Edward can't tell you what it feels like to have the ball in your hand with 10 seconds left to hit a game winner. So I think the respect that comes with me telling them what I've done and telling them what to do kind of goes a little bit more of a long way as a motivator. And I think that motivational and that translatable coaching piece helps those kids believe that they can do something that they might not have thought they can do. So that's one of the things that kind of differ. But yeah, it is a lot of people trying to do the whole thing that I'm doing. And you know what? I shout out to them. But, we don't really advertise. Like, I don't have difference maker commercials. Instagram is our only form of really exposure. We're like a Bentley or Rolls Royce. You ever see a commercial for a Bentley or Rolls Royce?
Nope.
You're never going to see one. But word of mouth is out there, and you know what type of vehicle it is, and when you get that type of money, what type of vehicle you might want. So that's what we try to treat our program. We want to be the Rolls Royce or the Bentley of that lane. But it's a gift and a curse, because sometimes we miss kids from just not being extra and just from not being all up in everybody's face. I never DM'd the kid to come work out with me. I never jumped in nobody's inbox, and I speak to parents. I don't speak to kids. And a lot of these programs, they'll just reach out to the kid and tell them, yo, I can do this for you. I can do that for you. If I did that, my program would be colossal, but the integrity and the morality would suffer. And that means more to me than working out any kid or help or just, approaching it that way. If it's meant to be, the kid will find a way to come to me. Yeah. And I'll find a way to connect with the kid the right way through the parents or through an adult. But there's a lot of shady stuff going on with these kids. And since the money's been involved, it's a lot of cutthroat business going on out there. Mm-hmm. And we refuse to be a part of it. So we're going to keep doing it our way. And whatever happens, happens. But, Rand, I keep telling you, man, I'm going to say it on the show. I'm going to propose it to you, man. We can't get a DM North popping. Difference Making North should already be set up already. We should be global. You know what I mean? Shout out to my man, Chad Babel and Made Hoops. They done came to Canada and took over. So we could be side by side and do some stuff with people like Made Hoops and other people I have relationships with if we had a Difference Maker North already up there. So, I'm going to send you the contract, you know what I mean? Sign on the dotted line and we're going to get this.
It's all family. I mean, that's without being said, that's something that we can definitely do and parlay it into because I mean, look, Canada's blowing up. There are some good people that are aligned in that vein that I'm aligned with, but I think there's a big 360 that's missing and Dream Chaser fills a lot of that void, not just in US but all internationally, right? And yeah, I mean, my whole thing's about community, right? Yeah. I'm not a trainer. I never professed to be a trainer. I'm a mentor, right? And I think that's part of what we have in common as guys who've been there and done it. It's more, I'm a mentor, right? I'm trying to show people the path and the opportunities. Most people now are looking at, going to the league or going to get money off of basketball. I'm looking at it as a means to an end, right? And part of that is mentoring kids of, look, what are you going to do? Like, the success stories of guys like you who've actually made money, real money playing it overseas or whatnot. And then you got guys like me who candidly just did it, right? So you don't hear about guys like me, right? You only hear about it when you talk about a story about, that guy played at Maine and he went and played over here, prep school. But you never hear about what successes you have through basketball. See, you said there's so many different avenues, right? What about the avenues you get to parlay to make money in other things, right? And that's kind of what I want to bring. And whatever it's Difference Makers or whatever it's like, I'm affiliated with another program similar to yours, Canada. Shout out to Justin, Dream Chasers. They're all trying to do the same thing, but I'm trying to connect the community so that the players have those resources at their fingertips.
That's a goal.
Yeah, they're just like you in Philly, the U plays of the world, the Canada elites of the world, the Brookwoods of the world. Those kids are the 5%, 3% that are gonna go. Just talent-wise, what they put in the game, whatever, the natural abilities. What about the 5% below that and the 5% below that, right? And that's what I think about.
You're developing young men, too, which is the most important thing. You're grooming and you're developing young men to be successful pieces of society, and that's the most fulfilling part of the whole thing. Whether they use basketball and end up being a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, an entrepreneur, open up some supermarkets, like that's one less kid that's doing something that they don't need to be doing. And that's what it's about for me too.
I remember we had a conversation years ago, and I remember you said something to me we were talking about because you were very inquisitive about the landscape of what's going up in Canada. And I said to you, and you said to me, man, something along the lines of, how are you going to ask directions to someone who's never even been there? Mm-hmm. Right? You said something along the lines, and that resonated with me, right? And that was kind of my beginning stages of coaching, right? Like, how are you going to ask questions to somebody? I'm not saying you have to be there to be successful, but I'm saying like a lot of kids are getting misled by guys that have no idea what it's like being at that level, training at that level.
It's wild because I was gonna say it's wild because sometimes I see coaches on the landscape now where I'm like, you're coaching? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be disrespectful, but you're like, how?
Anybody with a couple of dollars that can put a team together, it gets crazy. But like the talent pool that you guys have up there, I felt like it was, underrated for a long time, but people really woke up to it. I remember the guys. What's my man? Ro Russell, all them guys back in the day that was they had a couple pieces of elite talent, but now there's tons of kids coming out of there. There's a young man at the high school that you practiced at when you brought you to school down here. He might even be related to me. His last name is Dunkley, Josiah Hamilton Dunkley.
Yeah.
He's from Toronto, amazing player. There's a tons of talented guys coming out of the North, man. And I just think, and now they don't always have to come to America to make it. They can develop there and come straight to college. But the influx of kids from the North that has come here and really shaken a lot of stuff up is at an all-time high. And I think you guys do a great job up there developing talent. And it's been kind of a hidden gem for a while, but I think a lot of college coaches and everybody are waking up and they're starting to go up there, especially a lot of the teams that don't have a ton of exposure. And I remember our alma mater, Maine's team, they used to always recruit players from Canada because they always want kids from Canada. But I think everybody's waking up to it now, and I think those Canadian kids are getting their just due in the NIL space and the exposure space, rankings and things of that nature, because there's a formula, and I think everybody's kind of figured it out, and they're getting their fair share now.
But it's funny, a question Randall asked you in terms of if you're worried about people coming in your lane. I guess the best way to say it too as well is just let them come into your lane. They don't have your mindset. They don't have your dreams, your thoughts, your visions. You know what I mean? They don't have the way you execute. You know what I mean? I'll say the same thing for you, Randall, as well. It's your vision, right? You're executing it. Let them copy. They don't know where you're gonna take the steering wheel next.
Yeah.
We're always changing things up, man. I got a good team of trainers and mentors and people under the umbrella in our circle that are always coming up with new and innovative ways for us to move the needle, man. And we're going to continue to do that. Yeah, I think that's special too.
Yeah, I think everyone gets into this type of realm for different reasons. I have a little bit of the altruistic side of me that's more I'm not trying to brag, but I'm already successful in my own means. So for me, it's not about making money off of this. I mean, if I do, shoot, that's great. But I think I have no skin in the game anymore. Like, my son's done, my daughter's young. That's more just for the fun aspect of it. I do this really honestly to give back. Like, it may sound to some people crazy. I don't make a dime on what I do. Some people, my wife thinks I'm nuts, but I grew up with, we're all from Caribbean backgrounds, and my dad didn't know anything about sports, right? Other than cricket and football, right? Soccer. So when I got involved in all these sports, and he took an interest because he saw that, hey, I have something, he was there for me to give back. And I'll be honest, a lot of kids in our community don't have that role model to do that. And we're missing it. And like you said, there's a lot of, you're looking back, wow, it's taken off. The Roe Russells, people can say where they want. He may do X, Y, and Z, but he took a lot of kids, like even our boy Dre, right? He took a lot of kids and put them in a light to succeed, right? And maybe at them times he wasn't, maybe later he did, whatever, make money, but whatever it is, right? Now look, it pays it back, dividends, right?
I know his name. I wouldn't know his name if he didn't have a imprint in the landscape in America with basketball.
Yeah. And there's a lot of them now, right? I mean, people built off of that, right? You got, like the guys at UPlace, Shane James, he's another innovator. You have, Joey at Brookwood in Montreal. You have my guy, I love Dwayne Washington, what he's doing. Everybody's going to have their narrative. Vidal, right? Vidal, Northern Kings. Everybody's going to have their narrative about people. But ultimately, at the end of the day, right?
Helping kids, man.
We're in the golden era of Canada basketball. Shit, I just bragging the other day, man. We just beat the USA in your own game, right? Think about that. You beat the USA. We've come a long way. Our U18s beat the USA. That would have been a joke 10 years ago.
Yeah, facts, man.
Right,
facts.
And we're only getting better with the talent coming up. Every year we're getting a player drafted.
I mean, look at the NBA. You guys are doing.
And think about this. Think about this, though. Out of all the cities in North America, Toronto has pumped up the most talent. Listen to me carefully. Of all the cities, not talking about state, cities, Greater Toronto has pumped up the most talent in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Just look at go do your research and come back and tell me if I'm lying.
Listen, you wouldn't say you had a fact. You like the feds. When they come, they already got the facts together. I know.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. The MVP of the league right now, you know what I mean, is from the GTA, right? Essentially, right?
A lot of talent, man. A lot of talent. It's getting cultivated at an earlier age. The development is getting up to par. You guys are in a good position right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. But we'll wrap up here. But guys, man, thank you. For hopping on this pod, man. Definitely appreciate this conversation that we had today, man. And like I said, Julian, man, anytime, man, just let me know. You know what I mean?
I'll pull up.
Welcome guests. Like I told you, man, you good with Randall, you good with me. Go get the cup out the fridge. Go get the cup out the out the cupboard, man. Go get something to drink, whatever you want. Oh,
he's gonna be coming around like he comes around for Caravana. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah. Okay.
Good cooked food.
Yes.
If you give me a Red Rush hat, I'll pull up, man. That's all I want.
Me too.
Say less.
And last thing I'll say though, my wish list of Giannis going to Minnesota might be a reality. It might be a reality.
Breaking news? You're talking about it?
Breaking news right now. Minnesota is sending Julius Randall in the 28th pick in the NBA draft to the Brooklyn Nets in a 3-team trade that sends Nick Claxton to the Chicago Bulls. The Timberwolves will acquire Brooklyn's 33 pick for Randall in the 28th pick. They just cleared space.
Okay, they're making a move. Okay.
So let's see what happens.
All right, fellas. I appreciate you guys having me on, man, for real.
Yes, sir.